Welcome to a new episode of Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid Ahmed. Today's episode, which is also the first episode ever for me to just talk about stuff and try out this app called Anchor, we're going to talk about Queen Bee. Queen Bee, specifically, Queen Bee is also known as Beyonce. She is a woman on her own. She is a force to be reckoned with. She is, I don't know too much about her. I've heard of her music. I've known her from others. And yes, she does have some good, catchy, entertaining songs. And the one that's coming to my head right now is has been played over and over about Put a Ring on It, I think. Can't remember. Anyhow, Queen Bee. She's known as the Queen Bee. And she recently had, or maybe that was last year, so she's a mother now. She's had twins, I believe, or I'm sorry. No offense, Queen Bee. Talking about Queen Bees, I just finished my first class on practical beekeeping. I'm going to be a beekeeper this spring. I've been reading and learning about bees for at least 3 years. It started by watching this Indiegogo project called Honey Flow. This father and son duo out of Australia created this ingenious device, ingenious frame that would hold, that would enable honeybees to keep honey, but then you can come in and extract honey without bothering the honeybees. Yes, you will not crush any honeybees because the time you know when to get honey out is usually when the bees cap the honeybees. Anyways, that's how I got into it. So I learned. I watched videos, and Frederick Dunn's YouTube channel is one of the greatest one to learn more about honey flow. He did some exclusive reviews on how the honey flow system worked, and he was one of the first original backers. This is March 2018, and Honey Flow has gone out and done a version 2 of their Flow Hive, and they've got a campaign going on Indiegogo. You could save a good amount of money if you were to go and purchase. They're including a base, a way to hold the bottles in front of in the back of your beehive to extract the honey. So that's where I got started, and I didn't have the place to have a honey hives. So when we bought a house last year, we had plenty of room in the back. We have a good amount of open land and a place secluded enough for the bees to grow and not be a nuisance to the human population. Of course, I will fence out my beehives so my kids don't go close to them and get bit or whatever. Again, bees tend to be super calm. They only protect their own when they know that there's a problem. You don't provoke them, they don't mess around with you. They're extremely gentle, extremely sophisticated insects. The only insect whose byproduct that humans can consume. And there's actually lots of remedies, lots of medicinal use as well, because you're literally putting in your body something that was that's one, related to the environment you're living in, and two, created by the utmost intricate, cleanest creatures that you will ever encounter. So going back to queen bees are some of the most amazing creatures God has created. They have the ability to decide if they're going to lay a drone egg or a drone egg or a worker bee egg. So worker bees are the females of the bee kind, and queen bee and the worker bee are, they're both females, and the drone bees are the male bees. They do not have a stinger. They do not do any other work except their only job is to fertilize the queen bee. It's amazing. It's just fascinating. So the queen bee goes around laying eggs. Once the season, when spring starts, she goes around laying eggs, and these eggs then become pupa. They become larvae. Larva is then fed by the nurse bees. The nurse bees feed the larva a royal jelly that they produce from their glands, and that's after they've consumed some amount of bee bread. Bee bread is made from pollen. So I'm going to be throwing a lot of bee terminology. It's pretty crazy. I love it. So I took an 8-week class. So going back to how I got into it, honey flow hive, they got me into this. Finally got a place big enough that, boom, we have the room to grow it. Talked to my parents, talked to my wife. She said, yes, absolutely, go for it. So I started doing research and joined the local beekeepers club. And according to all the sites and everywhere I read, they said, you want to join a local beekeepers club because that's where you can buy the bees from. I'm like, all right, let's do that. So I went and joined the beekeepers club, attended the Nova's Beekeeper Association and Northern Virginia's Beekeeper Association, attended their meeting, and they were like, there's another beekeeper club close to where you live down in Reston. I was like, thank you very much. I would love to join them. So she connected to me to Jane Harding, who runs the club, and there I met Nate Mueller. He's an amazing guy. He's been doing beekeeping for some time now. And turns out my wife's coworker brother came out to be Nate Mueller, which is essentially going to be my mentor for this spring. Anyhow, long story short, I went through the class, took an 8-week class. It was basically free. I just bought the books, attended the class. It was free of charge. So much information was dispensed in this class. It was just amazing. I could be talking about this for hours on end. So now I've got to place my order for my beehives. I'm going to start with 2 hives. That's the consensus. That's the proper way to do. So you have a way to compare, why is one hive doing better and why is the other not, and then you can fix and go from there. And I'll get my bees early April, and they'll get to work and start making honey. So queen bee, Beyonce, amazing person, amazing artist, amazing human being, and she's raising beautiful babies. I definitely need to go in and do some research, so I will definitely look this information up and dispense it here. But again, thank you for listening to this first haphazard intro podcast / testing period. See where we go next. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast.